Hey guys, today's video is a collaboration with DIY Savvy Mommy, and you definitely want to go check out her channel. She is so talented, so artistic. She comes up with some amazing DIYs. So go ahead, make sure you head on over to her channel after you watch my video, and be sure to like my video, subscribe, and do all that other stuff if you like it. And if you're new here, thank you for welcome, and thank you for watching. And for all my regular subscribers, thanks for coming back and hanging out in my crazy little family here. So the first thing that things that you're gonna need are these sticky tiles that they have at the Dollar Tree. You're gonna need a sign that fits those tiles, and you're gonna need some foam board. I'm just trying to think of everything that you're gonna need. Some foam board and some hot glue and a little bead or some kind of a knob or something like that. So first thing you're going to do is you're going to measure out the foam board to fit the tiles, and you're going to need 5 of them. And there's one, I'm using this corner piece kind of as the base piece because it's kind of messed up in the, like, if you can see, it's kind of bent up there in the corner. So I just measured this one out to be the base, so that I don't waste any of the foam board. And then the other 4 pieces I measured out, and they're pretty much the same size, but I measured those out to fit the tile pieces. So you're just going to go ahead, you're going to cut these, and I've been using this L ruler, this L ruler, to make sure I get some straight lines, because I can't cut a straight line to save my life. So I make sure I use this. I definitely need to get a bigger cutting board because this one's way too small. But I'm just going to make sure that all the foam board pieces fit into the lid, which the sign is going to be a lid. And then what you do is, actually, when you measure out the foam board, you're measuring the foam board to fit the lid, and then we cut down the tiles to fit the foam board. That's how it goes. So I didn't take it out the sticky or anything. I went ahead and cut it with my cutter here, and then I put them onto the foam pieces, and I did that for all 4 pieces. And after you do that, then you attach the 4 pieces into a cube, and that's it for the cube. You glue all the sides together, and you've got yourself a cute little cube with all the 4 tiles on the sides. And the sticky on the back of these tiles is kind of hard to get off, so just an FYI, if you do buy these and decide to do this DIY, and you can use foam board, you can use cardboard, you can use, just about any, if you have signs, little wood pieces, anything that you can, make a cube out of, you can use. And, foam board's pretty sturdy, cardboard probably not as much, but it can still be used. So I'm going to paint this lid white, and I don't have my chalk paint, so I'm using, I think this is Delta or something like that. I got it from Michael's, I believe, or I think it was Michael's, but it's just like ceramic coat or some other brand. But I wish it was chalk paint because it would have covered better, but it served its purpose. It did what it was supposed to do. I had to do a couple of coats just to get it, get a pretty decent coverage on there. Once I painted it, I didn't like the way it looked just plain white. So, I had to kind of touch it up a little bit, do a little bit something different. One of the corner pieces on this sign was broken, so I had to glue that together. But I just went ahead and hot glued all the foam tiles together. Sorry I'm out of the camera there, but I don't know why my camera was kind of out of line there. Usually it's further back so I can be in the scene, but I wasn't. So anyway, I was having a little bit of trouble getting these pieces to fit into the sign, but I finally got them together, and I was able to glue it in. and the bottom piece was a little bit too big, so I had to cut it and kind of get it to fit in there. And this is when I'm fixing the one corner piece of the sign that was broken. I just put some hot glue on there and held it together, and it worked just fine. So then I didn't like the way it looked just plain white, so I went ahead and just got my Waverly wax paint, the antique wax, and just put a dry brush a dry brush coat over it, just to give it that wood look. And then I'm using this little knob that I have and put that on top, and that's how that one turned out. So this is a piece of wood. I think it was like a pegboard game, and I found it at a Goodwill a long time ago. And then what I do, and I learned this trick a while ago, you have to get really good corrugated cardboard you can find. I mean, this was just an old box that I had, and as long as you don't crush it, the corrugated pieces stay really well. And I just love using them for DIYs. If I'm making roofs or anything like that, I use cardboard and make them look like galvanized metal or just silver or whatever, and I think it looks amazing. So I just went ahead and took both of these pieces, and you just have to peel it off very carefully, and I gave them a coat of silver spray paint just to kind of give it a base coat because of all the little indentations. It's hard to paint it. So I went ahead and just gave it a coat of silver spray paint, and then I went ahead and got my the wood piece, and just to measure out, make sure that I measured correctly and got the right size box that would fit around that. And I'm using that wood piece as my base for this project. And excuse the mess off to the side, but that's a previous project. I was working on a bunch of them at the same time, so I didn't bother to move them out the way. I just kind of left them there. And anyway, so I just went ahead, measured these out, and then when I was done measuring them out, I had to fold the edges up, roll them up a little bit so that they could go around the kind of rounded edges of the base there. And then I just tried to figure out which way it would look better as far as connecting the two pieces, so it didn't look too bad at the seam. So I just went ahead and did that to both sides, and then once I was done measuring it out, I just used hot glue on the bottom to glue the cardboard to the piece of wood. And then once I glued it together, I glued the cardboard together at the seams, and that's when I was able to go ahead and start my galvanizing technique. But I just started off, I used Gorilla Gorilla glue sticks, and those are my favorite. I'm not sponsored by them or anything, but they are my absolute favorite glue sticks. I use them all the time, and I've used them for a very long time, and they work great. So yeah, I just took my hot glue gun, put some glue around the base, got that cardboard on there, and then tried to figure out whether to put it. And I messed up here because I forgot that I wanted this piece to go underneath, so I just took the little corner piece off and just glued it again, and it was no problem. It worked just fine. So yeah, then I go gluing the cardboard pieces together and making sure that I fit it into that corner really well. And I just did that for the whole thing, and it goes around. And if you can't tell by now, I'm just making a little storage bin. I love storage bins. I love, little drawers, little bins, canisters. I like all that type of stuff because we just have so many little, my husband and I call them stuff and things. We just have stuff, all over the house, and we have kids, so they leave things everywhere, and I just like having some place to put these things. And so I make a lot of bins. I make a lot of little storage pieces. I like making storage pieces. And so yeah, that's what I do. So once I finish gluing these pieces together, is when I'm going to use my handy dandy galvanizing palette. And if you saw my haul video yesterday, you saw that I had to buy myself another palette because this one's just, it's destroyed by the galvanizing paints. But I use this galvanizing palette often. I like that galvanized look. So rather than, getting a new palette or, whatever, I just take my palette and I stick it in a Ziploc bag and it keeps the paint fresh on the palette. So I'm able to use it again the next time. Now, this last time I used it, I left it sitting out. So my paint kind of got hard. So I wasn't able to reuse that paint, but it still works. So I'm just making sure I get all these little edges and stuff nice and smoothed out. And I was going to edit it for you, but I just wanted you to kind of see the process here and just kind of see how it goes from this to the little bin that I made. So just smoothed it out, and it'll look like there's going to be a seam that's showing, but once you paint it and it kind of settles in, that goes away. So it doesn't even look like there's a big seam or anything there. And I reuse my little makeup sponges, which is what I use to galvanize. And I use black, silver, white, and pewter gray. And then I have that little brown kind of, it looks like rust color. And I use that to put around edges to make it look rusty and older. So, you can start with whatever color you want. I tend to either go dark to light or light to dark, just depending on kind of what I'm going for. But I always end with the silver to make sure it's kind of got that shiny, metal look to it. But you just take the paint and just keep, blotting it on there. And like I said, this corrugated cardboard, it's kind of hard to get into the creases or into the little, divots there. But you just take the sponge, and this takes a while, and it takes patience because it doesn't always come out right the first time around. Then you kind of have to go and keep touching it up. And I look at it in different lights to kind of see how it looks in different lights and whatnot, just to make sure it looks the way that I want it to look. And I thought that I cut more of this out, but I didn't. And I know a lot of people like to see the galvanizing method, so I decided that I wasn't going to recut it. But yeah, so you just keep blotting. You start with black. Like I said, I generally start with black and then go lighter, because then that leaves me with the silver on top. And then when I do the pewter gray one, I kind of mix that up with the white when I'm using it, just to lighten it up a little bit. So because you already have the black, you don't want to keep using like the dark colors or anything like that. So I went ahead and I finished galvanizing, and then I'm going to put some handles on here, and I'm just using some nautical rope from Dollar Tree. And initially it wasn't just sticking right away. So then I just added a piece of cardboard to kind of hold it down, and that worked out really well. So you just measure out your nautical rope. Sorry again that I'm out of the screen there, but it was hard. I don't know, I just couldn't reach, so I did, just did that. But I did just glue these pieces on there, and then like I said, I just took a piece of cardboard and just kind of used it to hold it in there. And I did have an inspiration piece, excuse me, from Kirkland's, but I don't know that I added a picture of it. And but there's a canister like this on Kirkland's that I saw, and I really, really liked it, but I just couldn't see myself paying what they were asking for. So then I just took a piece of, like, how the nautical rope, you can break it up into 3 strands or 2 strands. This is just one of those strands, and I'm just gluing it around the top of the cardboard there, just to kind of finish it off there. And that's it. This is what it turns out like, and I really like it, and it's sitting in my living room right now, and I don't know what we're going to use it for just yet, but that's it. Check out DIY Savvy Mommy, and until next time, be the reason someone smiles. Bye.